Su Fan smiled and said, "It's not difficult. You can all become cultivators as long as you put your heart into it." He has a very good impression of the little boy and sees him as being very responsible, loyal, and sincere. In addition, his silly and likable personality is very endearing. The little boy finally asked the question he cared most about. "Can my sister and I eat meat every day?" The little girl was also beside him, looking at Su Fan with shining eyes. Su Fan chuckled at the question and said, "You can have meat at every meal." As they approached the top of the mountain, Wang Yulun seemed to have a special connection. Looking in the direction of Su Fan's spiritual boat, he stood up excitedly. "Brother Su is back." Su Fan looked at the excited Wang Yulun and said with a smile, "It's okay, I'm fine. I regret not being able to attend your wedding." Wang Yulun said, "As long as you're okay, that's all that matters." He then noticed a figure behind him. He looked at the two siblings and asked, "Brother Su, is this your child?" The next moment, his face was filled with astonishment. In just a few days, they had actually given birth to 2 children, and they were already this big. Murong Qianer looked speechlessly at her husband and asked, "Have you ever seen a child grow this big in just a few days?" Su Fan was also puzzled by this guy's words and explained, "These are the 2 disciples I accepted." However, just as he was about to introduce the names of the siblings, he suddenly realized that these 2 people seemed to have no given names. He then asked for the names of the siblings. The little boy explained that they didn't have proper names. In their village, one can only earn a name by harvesting the spiritual herb. Su Fan thought for a moment and said, "Then you can use my surname." He immediately gave the little boy the name Su Gang. The little girl was named Su Mu Fairy. The siblings happily knocked their heads together upon hearing the names. Disciple thanked Sherfu for giving them their names. Looking at the 2 people in tattered linen clothes, Su Fan reached out towards the restriction. The restriction opened a small hole, from which flew out 2 exquisite all-in-one laundry balls. The 2 all-in-one laundry balls attached directly to the chests of the brother and sister, starting to transform. Soon, 2 children dressed in exquisite Taoist robes appeared before them. Murong Qianer expressed interest and asked Brother Su, "What is this?" Su Fan explained, "This is the all-in-one laundry ball that I made when I was bored. It contains various clothing materials and can instantly transform into the clothing style you desire." Murong Qianer immediately requested a Su Fan laundry ball and asked her to give it a try. However, the next moment, a cheongsam in a different style from the child's appeared. This immediately caused several people to blush. Su Fan exclaimed, "You got it wrong." Murong Qianer then changed into another outfit, but it was another maid costume that appeared. Su Fan was stunned. This ball is going against him. After that, Murong Qianer changed into several sets of outfits, either in a personal secretary style or an air stewardess style. Even the maid outfit appeared. The repeated real-life sexy dressing scenes have made Su Fan extremely embarrassed. However, it seems that Wang Yulun has some ideas. Su Fan immediately stopped the younger siblings' dressing performance and asked them to go back and figure it out on their own. He didn't know how to face the 2 of them if this continued. Wang Yulun then stepped in to mediate and suggested, "Since Brother Su has safely returned and even accepted 2 disciples, why don't we all go out for a big meal to celebrate?" Su Fan naturally had no objection and turned to the disciples, saying, "You have the chance to eat meat every day." At this moment, Wang Yulun took out a red envelope and handed it to Su Fan. He said, "This is what we agreed upon." After that, they went to have a big meal together. After a few days, disciples settled in and started studying the text. Su Fan then successfully completed the list for refining the artifact for the Pangfu sect. Just as he was preparing to deliver the items to Pangfu, an outer elder from the artifact refining peak intercepted him. "Kid, you're being unreasonable. The sect is in need of artifact refiners, and here you are busy with personal matters." Su Fan suddenly felt uneasy. He had always been low-key. How did he manage to attract the attention of the higher-ups? Actually, what he didn't know was that this elder was expelled by the master of inner artifact refining peak. It was said that he took matters into his own hands because he couldn't find a first-grade artifact refiner proficient in glyph inscription. And when he had just observed Su Fan's refining techniques, he immediately knew that the task could be completed. Su Fan clasped his hands together to explain. I originally intended to contribute to the sect, but I was severely injured when I went out half a month ago and only fully recovered now. The deadline for refining the artifact is approaching, so I came quickly to refine it. Outer Elder nodded. I see. It looks like I misunderstood you. What artifact did you just refine? I can give you some guidance. Su Fan initially wanted to refuse, but seeing the eager look in the other person's eyes, he took it out. The moment the box was opened, Outer Elder's expression changed when he saw Su Fan, like a person in love looking at a piece of uncarved jade. He looked at the sword box and exclaimed, The glyph and formation are well depicted. Other aspects are also acceptable. Overall, it's very good. The elder couldn't help but think to himself, It looks like another artifact refining master is going to emerge at the artifact refining peak in the future. After expressing admiration, Elder immediately decided to bring Su Fan to Inner for participating in the maintenance of the heavenly floating boat. In an instant, he summoned a carriage that appeared before Su Fan, leaving him dumbfounded. He didn't even care whether Su Fan agreed or not, and directly put him on the carriage. Then the carriage rushed towards the sky. Elder asked Inner inside the carriage if Su Fan had been there, and Su Fan said he hadn't. When the carriage drove into a large cluster of ever-changing clouds, two huge long of the cloudy sea appeared before their eyes. Su Fan suddenly recalled unpleasant memories. Could it be that he would face a 2.0 attack, just like the main character's fate? Longing for it for a long time, Su Fan finally found himself next to the heavenly floating boat. At this moment, he is looking at the enormous twin long of the cloudy sea. Su Fan was startled and Elder looked at the shocked Su Fan with satisfaction, saying, Don't be afraid. This is the integration stage Jiao Long that guards the sect. The sect leader caught them in the endless ocean. They approached you because they saw you were a newcomer and wanted to do business. Later, Elder smiled mysteriously and said, You only need to spend 10,000 spiritual stones and you can. This mysterious expression made Su Fan feel shy. Could it be that there are some special services available? However, the next moment, Elder said, You can just ride around on Jiao Long. Su Fan immediately felt the urge to beat him up upon hearing this. Riding a Jiao Long is not like visiting a nightclub. Why are you being so ambiguous? Later, Su Fan politely declined, saying, I think I'll pass. For 10,000 spiritual stones, I'd rather buy more useful things. I imagine if I were to live a few thousand years, I could still acquire a few of these to place at my doorstep. Elder said regretfully, That's a shame. It's actually quite majestic. As he spoke, the carriage passed through the giant gate. Upon entering, Su Fan saw the riddled heavenly floating boat floating in the sky. Elder explained that this time, he called Su Fan mainly to be in charge of repairing the outer layer of the heavenly floating boat and repairing the damaged glyph that connects it. As for the remuneration, it will be based on the amount of work you do, with 1,000 spiritual stones per square meter. Additionally, I will teach you another 20 glyphs. Is this condition acceptable? Upon hearing this, Su Fan excitedly asked, Elder, do you have glyphs related to spatial stability, spiritual power linkage, and spiritual power manipulation? Elder showed a sweet smile. Yes, I have them all. Later, he instructed. Later, a senior at the void refining stage will come to guide you. For now, observe how others repair, and then Su Fan started to observe alone. It seems to be just some simple repair work, except that carving the glyphs is a bit tricky. The rest is just physical labor. Just at this moment, a senior at the void refining stage appeared behind Su Fan and asked, Are you the newcomer? Do you have any questions? Su Fan humbly responded, Thank you, Venerable, I have no questions. I can start anytime. The big shot exclaimed in admiration. This kid actually learned just by watching others repair, truly impressive. He then asked Su Fan to get started, saying, "Please try to be quick. Your repair speed will affect my rewards." Su Fan directly used the body lightning technique to stand in the air. With refined ores turning into a liquid or cluster, Su Fan used his hand as traction. He cut off the damaged parts, then filled the gaps with newly refined ore. On the side, the boss also sighed in admiration. This kid is a treasure. In that case, he can't slack off either, or else this kid will do all the work. 2 months later, when Su Fan finished carving the final spiritual gathering glyph, the entire outer hull of the heavenly floating boat regained its former luster, shining brightly and indestructible. Su Fan took a deep breath and said to the senior, "Venerable, the repairs on the outer hull of the heavenly floating boat are complete. Is there anything else to be done?" The senior indicated that there was nothing else for the time being. "Also, young man, during this period of time together, I've realized that you are a genius in the field of artifact refining. I feel that it's not impossible for you to become a grandmaster in artifact refining. The boss just sent a message and is very satisfied with our progress. These 5 glyph stones were obtained by me unintentionally, so I'm giving them to you as a token of our friendship. When you become a grandmaster in artifact refining in the future, don't forget to refine a Taoist artifact for me." Su Fan's eyes lit up as he accepted the glyph stones and promised, "Once I become a grandmaster in artifact refining, I will definitely prioritize crafting a Taoist artifact for Venerable." However, what he was thinking in his heart was, it will take 120 years for oneself to reach the foundation establishment stage. Big brother, you also have to live until I become a grandmaster in artifact refining. Later, Su Fan bid farewell and left. He looked around at this minor kiliocosm. Su Fan couldn't help but sigh at the power of this sect. When he advances to the inner, he must take a good look at this minor kiliocosm. However, this immortal cultivation world is also very realistic. When he arrived, the big shots competed to escort him. But now that he doesn't need it, he can only walk alone, feeling a bit lonely. At the same time, tens of thousands of miles away, at the heaven-gazing sect, Wang Yuluan and Murong Qianer are working together. They are currently exterminating a group of fiend beasts that sneaked over from the myriad Yogwai mountain. While attacking, Wang Yuluan said, "Qianer, after completing this mission, we will be able to exchange our contribution points for the myriad cosmos spirit womb Dan." Reluctantly, Murong Qianer said, "Husband, why don't we save the contribution points to help you improve your foundation establishment level? After all, I have just found out that I am pregnant." Wang Yuluan refused and exchanged for spiritual Dan. "With my current foundation of a 2-grade foundation establishment, it should be no problem. After our child is born, we can let them apprentice under Brother Su. They will surely be a genius in the future." Just as Wang Yuluan was speaking, another wave of fiend beasts came to attack. A hint of seriousness flashed in his eyes. If there are more than 2 foundation establishment stage fiend beasts in the beast group, they will be in danger. At this moment, a light yellow spiritual bird flew towards Murong Qianer, chirping softly in a melodious bird language. Murong Qianer was shocked to hear this. "What should we do if my husband has 3 foundation establishment stage fiend beasts?" Wang Yuluan's expression became even more serious upon hearing this, but he still said, "We cannot retreat. Other senior brothers are guarding at other key points. If we are broken through here, the efforts of nearly 100 senior brothers in the past half-month will be in vain." Wang Yuluan gritted his teeth and took out a large round ball covered with bright red glyphs from his storage ring. This was a life-saving magic treasure he purchased from Su Fan for 10,000 spiritual stones. Faced with the group attack of Foundation Establishment stage fiend beasts, he could only use this now. Holding the button at the top of the ball, Wang Yuluan directly swung it out with great force, using his spiritual power, smashing it towards the fiend beasts thousands of meters away. Farewell to the 10,000 spiritual stones. The round ball in midair seemed to have a reaction, as if it sensed something. It directly turned into more than 100 small round balls in the air, shimmering with light as they smashed down towards the group of fiend beasts. The next moment, a huge explosion resounded. Wang Yulin didn't expect the power to be so great. Brother Su didn't even say anything. Fortunately, they were outside the range. Shortly after, a 100-meter diameter crater appeared not far away. Wang Yulin sighed and said, "If Brother Su were also in the battle hall, these 3 Foundation Establishment stage fiend beasts would be wiped out in no time, and he wouldn't have to spend these 10,000 spiritual stones." Martialarts comforted, "Everyone has their own aspirations. Don't just sigh. You have been following Brother Su for so long, but it seems like you haven't even learned half of Brother Su's combat strength." Upon hearing this, Wang Yulin retorted, "Brother Su is a monster and can't be compared. As your husband, I am already considered powerful." Martialarts laughed and said, "Since you are powerful, when we return, why don't you challenge Brother Su again? Care to guess if you can last for 3 breaths?" Wang Yulin immediately exclaimed, "Don't underestimate me. I can last for 5 breaths." Just then, something caught Wang Yulin's attention. A dark green light was flashing in the center of the big pit. Have you seen the steel armor in the immortal cultivation world? At this moment, a dark green light in the big pit attracted the attention of the couple Wang Yulin, and they stared blankly at the center of the pit. Suddenly, Wang Yulin recognized the origin of this treasure. The surface was dark green, and looking at it made one feel trance-like. This is soul iron. He recalled a conversation when Su Fan sighed that if he had enough soul iron, he could refine an artifact to counter the golden core stage with a chi refining stage. Then Wang Yulin took out 2 large round balls and handed them to Xianxia, and asked her to guard them while he went to mine. When encountering 2 or more Foundation Establishment stage fiend beasts, she could use the round balls as before. Time passed quietly, and here, Su Fan moved to avoid the protagonist. Wang Yulin and his wife arrived at Su Fan's new home with confusion and asked, "Brother Su, why did you move suddenly?" Su Fan casually responded, "Isn't it because I took in 2 disciples? With more people, we need a bigger place." He thought to himself, "I can't say that I specifically avoided the main character either." Later, he introduced his new masterpiece, Spiritual Power Armor, which was crafted using soul iron or provided by Wang Yulin. Wang Yulin was immediately attracted. "This is simply awesome." Su Fan said that this couple outfit is given to you as a gift. Put it on when you encounter danger. As long as you're not at the level of a golden core cultivator, you can handle anything with it. Wang Yulin curiously asked, "Is this a defensive artifact?" Su Fan looked at him proudly and replied, "Try it yourself to see how it performs." Later, Wang Yulin transformed like Iron Man. Wang Yulin immediately put on this suit of armor. Suddenly, it was as if he had opened the door to a new world. Su Fan explained on the side, "The armor can amplify your spiritual power, and both mental and physical defense are top-notch. In critical moments, it can even activate a second state." Wang Yulin then proceeded to test it out. He directly unleashed a palm strike. This scene also captivated Wang Yulin. This armor is just too cool. With the armor, his escape speed has gotten incredibly faster. Wang Yulin excitedly said, "Brother Su, this artifact set is simply too powerful. Now I'm not afraid even when encountering a Foundation Establishment pinnacle fiend beast." Su Fan chuckled and said, "How about it? The soul iron I gave you didn't disappoint, right?" Wang Yulin was very touched. "It's not in vain, not in vain. I'm afraid, Brother Su, you'll be at a loss with such a set of treasure artifact." Su Fan said, "Actually, I also need your help with something. Last time, I helped with repairing the heavenly floating boat and caught the attention of the big shots there. This time, my name was added to the list for the heavenly floating boat trip. Since the trip will take a long time, please take care of my disciple while I'm away." Without saying a word, Wang Yulin readily agreed to Brother Su. "These are all small matters. You have helped us a lot, Taking care of disciple is nothing. However, Brother Su is now truly different. He is actually going to travel with the heavenly floating boat. Although Xianxia and I are in the battle hall, we still don't know when we will be able to board it. Su Fan also sees the opportunity this time. After all, he has always wanted to board the heavenly floating boat. However, he can't shake off a feeling of unease this time. Is that person going to appear again? Just like that, a month later Su Fan arrived at the peak of the heaven-gazing sect. He took out the accompanying token, and the guard let him in. Seeing this magnificent heavenly floating boat, Su Fan felt shocked once again. He knew that one day he also had to refine such a treasure ship. Just as he was queuing up to board the boat, a familiar voice rang out again, ye carefree enthusiastically shouting, "Junior Brother Su, long time no see. You moved, but didn't even say a word." Su Fan was dumbfounded once again by this guy. He could only respond with an awkward smile. "Now I should address you as Venerable Yi. I didn't expect Venerable Yi to advance to the Golden Core stage so quickly." Yi Carefree put his arm around Su Fan's shoulder and joyfully said, "Forget about venerable or not, let's not be so formal, my brother. Su Fan right now only has one thought: can I still get off the ship?" Yi Carefree took Su Fan to the side of the patrol guard commander of the heavenly floating boat. "Boss, this is my brother. He has a pass to be on board. Can you help arrange a better room, please?" Patrol guard commander says it's easy to do. There is an empty room next to your room. Just let your brother stay in that room. In the evening, inside the heavenly floating boat cafeteria, Su Fan looked on as Yi Carefree had already served 4 rounds of spiritual vegetables onto the table. Su Fan is thinking about whether to make a run for it now. It's easy for something to go wrong when he's on the same boat as the protagonist. However, Yi Carefree walked over carrying spiritual vegetables and pushed him back to his seat. "Junior Brother Su, the spiritual vegetables on the heavenly floating boat are a unique specialty of our heaven-gazing sect. Even the sect leader has praised them highly." Suddenly, the old man urged, "Kid, find a way to become blood brothers with him. You won't lose out. Believe in the discernment of this immortal emperor." Seeing the good wine and meat, Su Fan could only endure it. With half a bottle of wine in his belly, he looked at Yi Carefree's ring and asked, "Senior Brother Yi, when did your strange illness get better?" Yi Carefree was also a little tipsy. "Thanks to Junior Brother Su, my symptoms all disappeared after coming out of the mythic realm last time. After advancing to the foundation establishment stage, the first thing I did was to go to the family that called off my marriage and give a good humiliation to their younger generation of disciples." The next moment, Yi Carefree's face became bitter. "I thought I could wash away the shame of my broken engagement, but I never expected that the girl who called off the engagement had already been taken in as a disciple by a reclusive venerable. Both of us are at the foundation establishment stage, and I was easily defeated by her with just one hand." Upon hearing this, Su Fan rolled his eyes. People like Battle Emperor Shaolin, battle through the heavens, know to wait 3 years before provoking others. It's normal to be humiliated when you try to show off your strength prematurely. At this moment, Yi Carefree said firmly, "But this only fuels my fighting spirit. What does having a Sherfu at the great perfection stage matter? As long as you give me 3 years, I will definitely return the humiliation I received twofold." Su Fan, feeling helpless, said, "Then I wish Senior Brother Yi all the best." The next moment, Yi Carefree, moved, hugged Su Fan. "Junior Brother Su, you truly understand me. From now on, just call me Big Brother Yi. Let's become sworn brothers who will never abandon each other." Su Fan, stunned, said, "You smelly protagonist, get away from me. I was the one who wanted to become sworn brothers with you." Su Fan quickly pushed away Yi Carefree. "Big Brother Yi, you're drunk. Please let go of me. I still have things to do. I still need to go observe the glyphs on the inner wall of the heavenly floating boat." Just then, a pair of large hands clapped on Su Fan's shoulder. Turning around to take a look, only to see a middle-aged man saying, "I didn't expect a junior at the chi refining stage like you to have such insight." How about it? Are you willing to be my disciple? Su Fan thought to himself. How should I respond? Faced with the bombardment of a giant battleship. In this way, a hundreds of meters long abyssal giant Kuanfin beast can only end in disappointment. At this moment, in the canteen of the heavenly floating boat, a middle-aged man is asking, Su Fan, are you a disciple who came with the boat? Which peak are you from? Su Fan truthfully replied, I have not joined any peak yet. Currently, I consider myself a freelance cultivator. The middle-aged person's eyes lit up. We can't let such a good seedling slip away, he invited. Are you interested in coming to Artifact Refining Peak? Upon hearing this, Su Fan's eyes lit up. He naturally could not join any peak. The next moment, Su Fan stood up and bowed respectfully to the middle-aged man. I'm sorry, Venerable, the junior is now a first-grade Dan alchemist, just specializing in glyph research. Upon hearing Su Fan's words, the old man instantly felt bored. What's the point of practicing, Dan? Artifact refining is the true romance for men. He turned and left as if he had lost interest in Su Fan. Su Fan breathed a sigh of relief as he watched the figure of this nascent soul stage expert leave. He knew that once he joined the artifact refining peak, he would definitely not have the same freedom as now. At least in Dan refining, he would have to do it secretly. Perhaps he wouldn't break through to Foundation establishment for decades and would be ridiculed. At this moment, Ye Carefree, who appeared mysteriously behind him, said, Brother, why do you refuse the opportunity for the master of the artifact refining peak to take you as his disciple? This suddenly startled Su Fan. Are you the protagonist with Sadako-like characteristics? You like to appear and disappear mysteriously. Then Su Fan explained seriously that the reason he didn't want to join the artifact refining peak was because he wanted to dual cultivate Dan and artifact. I'm afraid that stating this reason will cause unnecessary trouble, so I casually found an excuse to dismiss Venerable. Besides, no matter how others see it, he is determined to achieve this goal. After saying that, Su Fan was going to take a stroll on this heavenly floating boat. At this time, the old man said to Ye Carefree, You see, that young man is extraordinary. It will be very beneficial for you to make friends with him. Arriving outside the cabin, only to see the cloud-swallowing serpent spirit of the heavenly floating boat flying around. At this time, Su Fan sensed two people walking towards him. Su Fan turned his head. He saw senior sister Sha Swallow, whom he had not seen for a long time, coming. She still had that beautiful appearance that made Su Fan's heart beat faster. However, he noticed a tall young man beside her. He was immediately disappointed. Could this be senior sister Sha's boyfriend? Sha Swallow blushed and jokingly punched him. What nonsense are you spouting? Let me introduce to you my eldest brother, Artifact Refining Peak First Grade Artifact Refiner Sha Swallow. He introduced Su Fan to his brother. This is my junior brother, who is extremely talented in Dan refining and artifact refining. Aren't you researching glyphs? My brother can help you with that. Su Fan obediently greeted senior brother Sha. Hello, my name is Su Fan. He immediately felt relieved in his heart, thinking, Good, he's not her boyfriend after all. At this moment, the man also smiled and greeted. Hello, junior brother Su. My name is Sha Idiot. After Sha Idiot finished speaking, he noticed that Su Fan's expression was very strange, trembling with both shoulders shaking rapidly. In the puzzled expressions of both of them, Su Fan, who was struggling to hold back, quickly left. He returned to his room and began to laugh recklessly. It turns out there really is a Sha Idiot. Ha ha ha. Su Fan hasn't encountered such a happy thing in a long time. He laughed for a few minutes before calming down. He felt a bit impolite. Oh well, he decided to explain next time they meet. Just then, Su Fan felt the whole heavenly floating boat shake. A voice came through saying, Entering endless ocean, the entire boat is in battle readiness. When Su Fan stepped onto the deck, he immediately smelled the scent of the ocean. In the distance, a vast expanse of endless blue sea, as if an abyss in the universe without stars, deep and mysterious. Su Fan also saw a guard battleship next to the heavenly floating boat, covered with cannons of various calibers powered by spiritual power. Indeed, a battleship with huge cannons is the true romance for a man. The main cannon on that ship alone has a caliber of 3 meters. I wonder how powerful it is. It turns out junior brother Su shares my opinion. This is what a man should control in alchemy. Sha Idiot appeared by Su Fan's side at some point. Su Fan, seeing the situation, stated his excellent reasoning. Senior brother Sha felt embarrassed just now. He suddenly got inspired while speaking, so he left abruptly to record his inspiration. Sha Idiot patted Su Fan on the shoulder to show understanding, giving off a somewhat bold and sympathetic feeling. Since that's the case, junior brother, can you share the inspiration you had just now? It's nothing really. Su Fan said, using his finger as a pen, drew a complete glyph formation in the air. Sha Idiot rubbed his chin and began to contemplate the functions of this glyph formation, such as resonance glyph, echo glyph, light veil glyph, arcane seal glyph, and more. Junior brother Su, if I'm not mistaken, are you trying to create an artifact for long-distance communication? However, due to limitations, communication between these two artifacts can only span a distance of a little over 100 kilometers. Listening to Sha Idiot's evaluation, Su Fan's eyes sparkled with admiration. This senior brother Sha is quite skilled. Senior brother Sha, I'm not done yet, Su Fan said, and then added a mini base station function around the formation formed by glyph. Watching Su Fan add the outer ring of glyph, Sha Idiot started to take it seriously because he found the arrangement of this glyph a bit incomprehensible. Su Fan ignored senior brother Sha and walked to the bow of the boat, starting to appreciate the endless ocean. However, after just a moment, Sha Idiot's excited voice could be heard. I understand. I understand. Junior brother Su, the outermost glyph structure of yours serves as a relay to transfer information. In theory, as long as there are enough intermediate artifacts, communication can be maintained over long distances. Su Fan praised. Senior brother Sha, impressive. It took me a long time to comprehend this glyph structure. At this moment, the entire fleet is descending towards the sea surface. One of the battleships emitted a strange sound. A secondary gun on the battleship gradually lit up. With a loud bang, a beam of light shot directly towards the sea in the distance. Golden flame sentinels patrolling the sky afterwards. They flew towards the distant sea surface on their golden flame birds after being hit. In no time, a team of golden flame sentinels lifted a giant whale that was 500 meters long. Sha Idiot said, This is a great start. It looks like this resource collection journey will be very rewarding. At this moment, Su Fan was already captivated by the charm of this giant cannon. Indeed, for Su Fan, artifact refining is the romance of a man. At this moment, Su Fan on the heavenly floating boat has been impressed by the power of this giant cannon. Sha Idiot regretfully said, This is a shallow sea giant whale. Unfortunately, we can only drink soup when facing a fiend beast at the void refining stage. Su Fan, on the other hand, doesn't care about drinking soup, but marvels at how powerful the cannons on the escort ship are. With just one shot, that fiend beast at the void refining stage was gone. Looking at the shocked Su Fan, Idiot junior brother Su laughed and said, It's your first time seeing cannon fire, right? You'll get used to it. These are just the secondary cannons. Wait until you encounter a fiend beast at the great perfection stage of crossing tribulations. That's when it gets spectacular. When the main cannons of all 9 warships fire together, even space can be shattered. This immediately made Su Fan yearn for it. He decided that in this lifetime, he would assemble his own fleet. Su Fan asked curiously, Senior brother Sha, how many spiritual stones does it cost to fire one shot from that secondary cannon we just used? Sha Idiot said that the cost is not just in spiritual stones, but if converted into spiritual stones. The cost of this shot is 100,000 spiritual stones. These are all minor issues. Just now, that Shalacy Will casually sold some parts. All have 500,000 spiritual stones now. Su Fan took a deep breath. This shot is enough to keep him busy for over a month. Shaw Idiot continued. This is nothing. The main cannon is the real deal. A shot of 500,000 spiritual stones can injure a fiend beast at the great perfection stage of crossing the tribulation. Sun Fan thought to himself, if my cheat was a bit more powerful, maybe I would have ascended to the celestial realm and shattered the void. 3 days passed just like that. Su Fan has been researching the glyph formation of the spiritual power cannon. Since boarding the heavenly floating boat, Su Fan has discovered that the heaven-gazing sect greatly favors artifact refiners and spares no effort in cultivating them. In the past few days, just because he boarded the heavenly floating boat as an artifact refiner, Su Fan was allocated a pile of leftover materials just from collecting resources, worth more than 30,000 spiritual stones. Shaw Idiot came over at this time. Junior brother Su, sorry, I mentioned your idea to my Sherfu. He is very interested and would like to have a chat with you. Su Fan looked helpless upon hearing this. Damn it! I considered you a friend, but you sold me out. No choice. He could only follow Shaw Idiot to the artifact refining department. Upon entering the artifact refining department, Su Fan once again marveled. Just the space expansion technique alone, without the corresponding glyph, he could not understand even if he contemplated it for 100 years. Shaw Idiot led Su Fan into the elder pavilion room, where an elderly man gently asked, Are you the one that little idiot mentioned, the friend with great ideas about communication artifact? Su Fan bowed and said, Indeed I am. The old man said slowly, Your ideas are very innovative. I have thought carefully. If we deploy 36,000 large treasure artifacts dedicated to transfer in Elephant Prefecture, combined with your glyph formation concept, all cultivators in Elephant Prefecture will be able to use our communication artifact. Even if we enhance the communication artifact further, we could directly communicate through remote light and shadow. At this point, Su Fan's idea indeed should not underestimate anyone's wisdom. The video call is already available, or it is a virtual projection. The old man spoke again. Youngster, would you like to become my disciple? You possess the talent of a grandmaster in artifact refining. Su Fan was stunned. Why do all the big shots like to take in disciples? Am I really that exceptional? On the side, Shaw Idiot immediately started winking at Su Fan and transmitted his voice. Junior brother Su, quickly agree. My master is a grandmaster in artifact refining. In our sect, even the sect leader must show respect to my master. In the future, we will be senior and junior brothers in the same sect. However, Su Fan bowed to the old man and said, Junior doesn't dare to deceive Venerable. Junior intends to pursue the path of dual cultivation of pill and artifact. I'm afraid it may not be suitable to be your disciple. The old man didn't get angry but instead asked with a smile. You, youngster, are quite frank. So let me ask you, between Dan refining and artifact refining, which do you prefer? Without a doubt, Su Fan chooses artifact refining. After all, artifact refining is a man's romance. In that case, the old man expressed that he is willing to become my registered disciple, granting you access to enter Skyforge Peak. Once you want to specialize in cultivating artifact refining, you are welcome to join my sect. Su Fan remained silent and silently depicted an extremely complex glyph formation in the air. Being someone with unparalleled talent, he has his own pride. Seeing the glyph formation Su Fan depicted, a glint of approval flashed in the old man's eyes. I understand what you mean. Now go. When you have time in the future, come to me for a chat, said the old man. He then took out a token and handed it to Su Fan. This is the token to enter the inner, he said. After Su Fan left, Shaw Idiot asked puzzledly, Master, what did you mean just now? The old man exclaimed, This young man has immeasurable potential. It's a pity that I didn't have the opportunity to teach him. Here Su Fan returned to the deck and started showing off again. His achievements in chatting and laughing with the big shots were unlocked. Next, He will marry a beauty and reach the peak of life. At the thought of this, Su Fan's mind conjured up the figures of senior sister Xia and Zhang Faint Cloud. Oh my damn charm! At that moment, the entire heavenly floating boat fleet slowed down. The protective shields on the ship have all been opened. Encountered a large sea creature ahead, with no fiend beast at the Great Perfection stage, battle level B. As the entire fleet relayed the message, the heavenly floating boat has already increased its speed to the maximum, leaving the 9 warships closely behind, fiercely charging towards the nearby sea creature group ahead. Su Fan exclaimed, "Wow, heavenly floating boat, is this the correct usage?" Before Su Fan could exclaim again, the fleet clashed violently with the sea creatures, instantly leaving Su Fan feeling dizzy and disoriented. Then the giant cannon roared again. Bombs were dropped on the sea ahead, and afterward, the entire sea returned to calm. The bodies of the sea beasts also surfaced. Su Fan was stunned. It's really uncomfortable to travel on this heavenly floating boat. Su Fan saw several groups of golden flame bird sentinels flying in all directions. Puzzled, he asked, "Are they defeating monsters or searching for treasure?" At this moment, Yi Carefree arrived next to Su Fan with a sheath on his back. Usually, where fiend beasts gather is a treasure trove, often containing high-energy spiritual ore. If you're lucky, you might even stumble upon ancient ruins. Later, Yi Carefree continued to explain that when some powerful cultivators ascend, they will come to Endless Ocean to cross the final immeasurable tribulation, so there are many caves left behind by these powerful cultivators before ascending. Su Fan sighed and said, "I see. In that case, I will need to explore several caves if given the opportunity." At this moment, at the top of the heavenly floating boat, a big shot directly took out a giant magic treasure. The next moment, the magic treasure crashed onto the sea surface, and in the blink of an eye, a huge city appeared on the sea. It seemed to be fixed in the void, unaffected by any waves. Su Fan curiously asked if this is a city-based magic treasure. Yi Carefree indicated that it is a Taoist artifact similar to a cave dwelling. It seems we will have to stay here for at least a month. Yi Carefree grabbed Su Fan and flew towards the city. Su Fan, feeling numb, wondered why there were always men holding his hand. Yi Carefree instructed, "Little Fan, your token can open the door to a common courtyard in Seaguard City. You will be living here for over a month. If you're bored in the city, you can go out to search for treasures, team up to hunt fiend beasts, or take on some Dan refining tasks. Just make sure not to venture too far from Seaguard City." Standing on the main street of Seaguard City, Su Fan was surprised to find that there were so many people from the heavenly floating boat, with numerous cultivators flying towards Seaguard City. At that moment, the 2 siblings from the Xia family came over. "I didn't expect that another sweet and beautiful girl appeared in Dan Refining Hall." Su Fan, this old stay-at-home guy, is starting to consider majoring in Dan Refining. At this moment, Xia Swallow and the 2 siblings have come by. Sure enough, beauties are always pleasing to the eye. After seeing the usual charm of senior sister Xia Swallow, Su Fan couldn't help but be attracted. Just as he was about to embrace senior sister, Xia Idiot once again grabbed Su Fan's hand and excitedly said, "Junior brother Su, are you interested in opening an artifact refining workshop with me? Just by repairing magical treasures for cultivators who go out to battle, we can earn tens of thousands of spiritual stones in a month." Su Fan was speechless. How can you be more annoying than the main character? At this time, Xia Swallow also invited Su Fan. "Junior brother Su, if you don't want to go to artifact refining, you can come with me to Dan Refining. You will see many underwater spiritual herbs." There is no need to say more. Based on his nature of leaning towards LSP attribute, he will naturally choose Xia Swallow's senior sister. However, when Su Fan wanted to agree with her, a cough interrupted him. "Little Swallow, don't come over. Don't be with people who specialize in artifact refining." Looking back, it was Xia Skyview, whom Su Fan had originally refused. At this moment, he was staring at Su Fan and Xia Idiot with an unfriendly expression. Sha Swallow gave Su Fan an apologetic look and obediently returned to his father's side, while Sha Idiot turned his head away and refused to look at Sha Skyview, behaving like a sulking child. In the end, Su Fan, who had no choice, could only follow Sha Idiot. So Seaguard City gained a shop called Sha Idiot Artifact Refining. At this time, Su Fan and Sha Idiot are having tea and discussing Tao in the artifact refining shop. Just as the two of them are praising each other, a slender figure walked in. A soft and slightly sweet voice sounded, "Can I repair the Dan refining furnace here?" A charming lady appeared in front of me. Su Fan now regrets choosing to cultivate artifact refining. Why are there so many beauties in Dan refining? Su Fan smiled and asked the other party, "Are you a Dan alchemist?" The little beauty sobbed and replied, "Yes, I brought a spare Dan furnace when I boarded the heavenly floating boat. The first Dan furnace exploded, and the remaining one also developed cracks yesterday." The little beauty then looked at Su Fan with hopeful eyes and said, "So I was wondering if you could help me repair it." Su Fan squinted his eyes and said, "Sometimes just listening to the voice is a kind of enjoyment, especially this soft and sweet voice." Then he looked at the little beauty's Dan refining furnace. Su Fan glanced at it and said, "It's a small matter. Just give me 50 spiritual stones, and I can repair your heavenly floating boat when collecting small veins. You take out the leftover materials, and I'll fix it for you." Then Su Fan used the materials provided by the little beauty to start repairing it. The admiring gaze of the little beauty next to him made Su Fan very pleased. So he decided to enhance the Dan furnace for the little beauty for free. After the transformation, this Dan refining furnace not only has been repaired, but its value has at least doubled. Su Fan handed the Dan refining furnace to the little beauty and said teasingly, "You didn't lose out by spending 50 spiritual stones, did you?" The little beauty's face instantly turned slightly red, shyly taking back the Dan refining furnace artifact. She then ran out like a flower butterfly. Su Fan shouted, "You haven't taken the remaining materials yet." I didn't expect that after hearing Su Fan's voice, the little beauty ran even faster. A mirror of ice appeared in front of Su Fan, reflecting Su Fan's ordinary face. Am I really so terrifying? In this way, Su Fan and Sha Idiot started their business of artifact refining. A month later, as the closure of Seaguard City approached, Su Fan was feeling a bit overwhelmed. Helping people with artifact refining every day was starting to wear him out. He said to Sha Idiot, "Senior brother Sha, we can't just stay in Seaguard City doing artifact refining. I have finally made a long trip. We should go out and explore." At this time, Sha Idiot, who was muscular all over, said, "I forgot that junior brother Su is visiting Endless Ocean for the first time and should go explore. You go ahead. I will continue refining artifacts here." "Take care, senior brother Sha." Su Fan spoke and then swiftly ran out. He then drove the spiritual wind boat out for an adventure. After leaving Seaguard City, more and more fiend beasts appeared on the sea surface. Most of them are fiend beasts at the Golden Core stage. Su Fan found a relatively calm sea area, explored it, and then released an underwater vehicle resembling a submarine artifact. This underwater vehicle is an artifact specially refined by Su Fan. He hopes to have the opportunity to explore underwater treasures, fulfilling a childhood wish of his. As the stealth glyph on the submarine's hull activated, the entire artifact blended into the sea and disappeared without a trace. Half an hour later. According to his estimation, he is now at least 50,000 meters below the sea surface. The powerful water pressure forces Su Fan to increase his spiritual power to maintain the operation of the artifact. He then revealed an excited smile on his face. It's treasure hunting time now. He took out the already prepared spiritual power and life detection modules, as well as the light shadow imaging night vision module. As Su Fan entered the pitch black underwater, it was instantly illuminated. Soon after, he saw the Gold Core stage electric eel not far away. Su Fan was almost scared out of his wits, and almost flew straight up into the air. At the same time, not far from Su Fan, Ye Carefree is fleeing from being chased by a nascent soul stage pinnacle fiend beast under the sea. He asked in his mind while fleeing, "Old sword, are you sure about letting me kill this thing?" The old man said impatiently, "How many times have I told you to call me Celestial Sword Immortal Emperor?" He then explained that this gold-eating swordfish's main bone is a treasure. The central main bone is simply a naturally formed sword. With a little refinement, it can become a top-grade treasure artifact. The most important thing is that this flying sword can devour and evolve on its own. Even if you ascend to the great thousand worlds, it is still a rare treasure. Ye Carefree looked speechless. "I understand everything you said, but the current situation is that I can't defeat this thing." The old man asked him not to panic. This immortal emperor has a thorough plan. Go another 500 miles forward, where your good brother is waiting for you. When the time comes, use your final trump card to defeat that swordfish, and then wait for your brother to come to the rescue. Once he heard it was brother Su Fan, Ye Carefree was unhappy. He's only at the chi refining stage. In case something unexpected happens, it could harm him. The old man continued to tempt. "Don't underestimate your brother. This immortal emperor's judgment of people has always been accurate. And with the gold-eating swordfish's spinal column, following my method will only take 50 years to evolve into a Taoist artifact." Ye Carefree was moved by these words. He gritted his teeth and quickly headed towards Su Fan. He didn't forget to say, "Brother, the moment to test our friendship has arrived." Poor Su Fan still had no idea that the protagonist was approaching him again. A swordfish with golden core strength was unexpectedly killed by a chi refining stage cultivator. At this moment, Su Fan is leisurely strolling around at the bottom of the sea. Su Fan is holding a pearl the size of a billiard ball, happily saying, "The pearl nurtured by the 1,000-year deep-sea giant clam. It would be nice to gather a few more to make a spiritual bead bracelet. As for that exquisite Linglong pearl, it will be the core of my tri-type spiritual power battlegear spiritual energy." He was thinking about how to refine a magic weapon, when Su Fan suddenly had a sense of ominous foreboding. When Su Fan felt the danger, he planned to go ashore and return to the city. Suddenly, an astonishing spiritual power fluctuation came from far under the sea. Waves of dark currents rushed in from the seabed, and the massive fluctuations almost caused Su Fan to lose control of the submarine. Not far from the submarine, a very weak breath is approaching Su Fan. "Little Fan, save me." Su Fan was stunned. How does the main character always encounter things even in 50,000 leagues under the sea? Later, he still let Ye Carefree into the submarine. At this moment, Ye Carefree propped himself up weakly and said to Su Fan, "Little Fan, the swordfish outside is already in half-crippled state, with no fighting power left. Please help me kill it. I want its backbone. There will be heavy rewards after the task is done." After saying that, he fainted. Su Fan looked at Ye Carefree, feeling eggs aching. "Oh my gosh. I didn't agree to that." He looked at the gold-eating swordfish outside, staring at it like a tiger. Su Fan heaved a deep sigh. Not doing anything is not an option. The consequences of opposing the protagonist would be very serious. Su Fan immediately took out a mask and put it on his face. In an instant, a black suit of spiritual power armor appeared on Su Fan's body. After coming out of the submarine, Su Fan directly summoned countless ice spears and shot them towards Swordfish. At this moment, Swordfish disappeared without a trace. The next moment, Swordfish appeared behind him. Su Fan immediately used a few protective shields. With a muffled sound, Su Fan, only left with the final layer of shield, was sent flying. Su Fan then appeared with 6 silver metal spheres in hand, which he immediately threw out. The silver metal spheres transformed, and 6 mercury serpents with water properties appeared in front. They instantly started fighting fiercely with Swordfish. After that, Su Fan quickly formed hand seals and cast a spell. 3 shadow clones of Su Fan appeared next to him. Afterward, Su Fan commanded 6 mercury snakes with foundation establishment strength to charge towards the gold-eating swordfish. Su Fan then formed hand seals, preparing for a big move. When the mercury snake entwined swordfish, Su Fan's ice blade storm spell is also ready. Instantly, a wall made of ice blades surrounds the battling gold-eating swordfish. The ice blades slowly rotate and contract, squeezing the fighting space of the gold-eating swordfish. Just as the gold-eating swordfish is in a panic, the spiritual needle, which has been waiting on the side for a long time, moved instantly. It directly stabbed the eyes of the gold-eating swordfish, blinding it. Subsequently, the swordfish lost its breath of life. Su Fan was distressed by the gains of this battle. My poor mercury snake was almost completely wiped out. This battle resulted in a loss of at least 80,000 spiritual stones. Inside the submarine, Carefree's grandfather is watching the battle. He has exceptional talent for fighting, much stronger than this foolish kid. If he weren't only at the chi refining stage, he would have wiped out the gold-eating swordfish long ago. After Su Fan returned to the submarine, he pushed a healing spiritual Dan into Carefree's mouth. The other party woke up shortly after. He also couldn't help blaming himself. Little Fan, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you go and kill swordfish. After all, even I can't deal with it. Then he leaned in and said, Little Fan, are you okay? Su Fan hurriedly stopped him. Big brother Yi, you can rest assured. The swordfish is in the storage bag. Carefree suddenly felt a little ashamed, realizing that his behavior was somewhat using Su Fan indirectly. He took out a ring and said, I see you don't have a spatial ring yet. Take this one. It has a space of 100 feet in all directions. Su Fan's eyes lit up immediately. We're already brothers, so no need for formalities. Of course, he quickly took the ring. After all, this kind of spacious spatial ring, only a master of artifact refining proficient in space glyph formation can refine it. It is very rare on the market. When Su Fan was just starting to feel like he could also benefit from the soup following the protagonist, suddenly a spatial rift cracked open next to the submarine and swallowed it up. Both of them were completely stunned. What is going on now? He had just resolved the crisis for the protagonist Carefree. Su Fan is then involved with the protagonist in a minor kiliocosm. It seems that Su Fan is destined to stay by the protagonist's side. Behind the submarine, there is a broken city gate. It seems that no one has lived there for at least a few hundred years. At this time, Su Fan with ox gaze turned on. He looked into the distance and said, There is a big trouble ahead. Big brother Yi, how much combat power do you have left? At this moment, Carefree also sensed the fluctuation of the earth and looked into the distance. He then noticed a group of strange birds flying towards the horizon in the distance. He quickly asked, Old Sword, what's going on? The old man explained that these were strange birds created by the tribulation stage, called minor kiliocosm. Once you recover, you can find the location and leave. Also, I observed that this minor kiliocosm only contains some sword path legacies, nothing else important. Carefree was quite happy to hear about the old sword. Having sword path legacies is also good. However, Old Sword's tone was quite mocking, saying, Don't blame me for not reminding you. It will take at least 10 days for your strength to recover. Whether you can survive or not will also depend on your good brother. Carefree had no choice but to say to Su Fan, Little Fan, my fighting power hasn't recovered yet. Let's find a place to hide for now. Su Fan said that they couldn't hide and could only run for now. Then he took out the spiritual wind boat and slipped away. However, not only were there more and more strange birds, but their speed also remained about the same as that of the spiritual wind boat. Su Fan could only ask if the protagonist had any way to get out. After all, the other side had a grandfather who was a walking encyclopedia. Carefree then said that once he regained his strength, he would be able to find the way out, but it would take another 10 days. In that case, Su Fan patted Carefree's shoulder heavily and said, Big brother Yi, I'll take care of you for these 10 days. Later, Ye Carefree pointed in a direction and said, Over there is the residence of a powerful cultivator. Maybe there are some legacies there. Su Fan immediately thought, Is this going to be another situation where I have to drink soup? Just hope nothing bad happens. Not long after, Su Fan flew to a group of buildings that looked like a typical imperial palace. Ye Carefree pointed to a palace and said, Little Fan is no use going elsewhere. Just go to the Heritage Hall. After entering the Heritage Hall, a voice sounded. I, Sword Cloudborn, have come to the domain of extreme sky in search of a way to break through the boundaries. I leave this inheritance to those who are destined to receive it. If we meet again in the great thousand worlds in the future, let us continue our master-disciple relationship. However, the two quickly filtered out the useless chatter and collected everything useful. At this time, the fiend beast chasing from behind surrounded the inheritance hall in an encircling manner. After making sure that everything in the inheritance hall has been taken away, Su Fan took Ye Carefree aboard the spiritual wind boat, blasted a large hole in the top of the inheritance hall, and then drove the spirit wind boat to surge out. Looking at the sky filled with strange birds that blocked the sun, most of them were fiend beasts at the chi refining stage, with a few at the foundation establishment stage, and some large-headed golden core stage birds as well. Su Fan then summoned his spiritual power armor and said to Ye Carefree, Big brother Yi, there might be some turbulence later. Please bear with it. Su Fan started forming hand seals. Instantly, more than 10 giant puppet birds appeared. At the same time, a group of archer puppets also appeared. Old Sword said, I knew it! This young brother of yours is extraordinary. At the very least, his method of artifact refining is quite creative. Ye Carefree replied, Isn't it just a puppet after all? Old Sword explained, These puppets possess spiritual intelligence. Although not as good as normal individuals, they are more than capable of handling some simple battles. At this moment, under the impact of the puppets, a gap was punched in the encirclement of the monster birds. Su Fan then drove the spiritual wind boat to break through towards the gap. Ye Carefree exclaimed, Little Fan, your puppets are amazing. Each of them possesses the strength of the foundation establishment stage. Can puppets with golden core level strength be refined? Su Fan immediately started promoting it. Yes, they can. However, you need the intact body of a nascent soul stage fiend beast and a soul orb. If Brother Yi needs it, I can give you a 25% discount for only 290,000 spiritual stones each, excluding materials. Ye Carefree said awkwardly, Actually, Brother is also broke. I'll definitely support your business when I have some spiritual stones. Su Fan smiled on the surface and said, All right, I'll wait for you, brother. Inwardly, he couldn't help but complain. The protagonist is also poor. Then he looked at the strange bird fiend beast that covered the sky behind him. Su Fan murmured solemnly, This level seems a bit difficult. 5 days later, at this moment, Su Fan's face looked extremely pale. Because all of his foundation establishment stage puppets were damaged in the battle, Su Fan would have had to join the fight himself if Ye Carefree hadn't restored some of his combat power. At this moment, a figure covered in blood appeared on the spiritual wind boat. Ye Carefree said, Little Fan, you hold on for now. I will first restore some spiritual power. Su Fan immediately stood up, full of resentment. After he put on the spiritual power armor, he directly used a powerful move called Bird Flock Killing Technique. Countless fiery red birds flew out from the sea of fire. They flew towards the pursuing fiend beast to collide with it. A series of explosions reverberated throughout the whole world in an instant. Ye Carefree was shocked, feeling like his chi refining stage had been practiced to the dog's belly. This power is almost comparable to a golden core cultivator's spell celestial technique. Ye Carefree then asked Old Sword, What does the most monstrous chi refining cultivator look like? Does my brother have any skills? Old Sword replied, I have seen the most monstrous cultivator who can slay a nascent soul. Your brother can only battle a golden core cultivator at most. Although he is not top-notch, he is still at a first-class level in the Great Thousand Worlds. Ye Carefree's face darkened even more. To think that a chi refining cultivator can slay a nascent soul cultivator, such a monstrous talent. In the future, they might even be able to slay emperors and gods. If there's a chance, I must meet him in person, Ye Carefree said suddenly. You will meet him in the future, Old Sword replied. Ye Carefree was surprised to hear this. Old Sword calmly stated that he is the enemy of the demise immortal emperor, and he is also your target to be killed in the future. Ye Carefree said nothing and suggested you go with my brother. I feel like I am nothing compared to them. Old Sword did not belittle Ye Carefree and advised not to underestimate oneself. Meeting you is destined by fate. Just then, Su Fan's roar resounded. Ye Carefree and the other two looked on in confusion, wondering what had happened. What made Su Fan so embarrassed and angry that he yelled out? It turns out that it was that strange bird at the Golden Core stage that occasionally emitted psychedelic sounds. Su Fan could resist it at first, but what he couldn't bear was the content of the psychedelic sounds, which was, I'm going to catch your whole family and force them to lay eggs for me. Just the thought of that scenario gave Su Fan goosebumps. In an instant, 3 billiard-sized thunder titanium pearls appeared around his body. Another long tube-shaped artifact appeared in the sky. He then aimed at the strange bird. The huge energy attack instantly pierced through this Golden Core stage strange bird. This scared the surrounding Foundation establishment bird flock silly. Su Fan looked smugly at the blood mist and said, Damn it! So you want me to lay an egg for you? Even if I killed a Golden Core monster bird, Su Fan still feels unsatisfied. He directly activated the artillery mode and bombarded the fiend beast behind the spiritual wind boat wildly. Ye Carefree was shocked by this scene, and Old Sword said, When you seek revenge for me in the future, bring along this brother of yours. I feel he has more potential than you. 10 days later, Ye Carefree's strength was restored. The two of them broke through a weak spot in space and came out in minor kiliocosm. Su Fan quickly summoned a submarine and flew towards the sea surface with Ye Carefree.